This is Bryan Reesman of the Aquarian presenting to you my interview with Michael Jackman, the Oscar-nominated producer of the new film Conclave. It tells the story of the sequestered College of Cardinals at the Vatican who must go through the painstaking process of selecting a new pope after the current one passes away. It's a dramatic thriller full of personal and political intrigue. You should definitely check it out. Let's go. And I saw the movie recently and I loved it. And I'm not religious, but I found that it can work whether or not you're a believer or not. It's really interesting how the whole voting process and what everyone's thinking and all the disagreements. And it's actually a more civil type of debate than we seem to be getting these days.
That's fair. Yeah. It's a at its heart, it's a political thriller, and it's about power and the fight for power. And I think that's translatable to kind of every sort of power struggle you have, whether that's with the church or local politics or national politics or school board. I think it all
Yeah.
has similarities, and when there's power, there are different people who want it for different reasons. And I think what's fun about this is that you get a glimpse into something you've never seen before
Mm.
and don't know much about, but then you recognize kind of all of the archetypes.
It's interesting because you shot a lot of this in Italy, right? I'm assuming there's
Got all
soundstage.
of it.
Yeah, and there's soundstage work, but there's also real locations. Considering how close you were to the Vatican, was there any friction going on while you were making the movie? Were they aware of what you were doing?
We decided very early on to not sort of reach out to the Vatican, to not, have any discussions with it, because one, we didn't want them to be unhappy with it and voice that. So we thought, let's just figure it out ourselves and not worry about it. We did a bunch of Vatican tours, but those are sort of public. We met like the consulate to the Holy See came by the set and said hello, but there was no sort of official communication. I have heard that many Vatican members have seen the movie and like it, but I have no independent verification of that other than some of our friends in Italy have said, yeah, yeah, they like it. So I don't know.
Well, I was looking at some of the Catholic press, and there's obviously going to be varying viewpoints as to whether it's cool or not. Or, I mean, we're in an interesting time where I think religion's actually become much more of an issue in America now. Again,
Mhm.
it's like Europe, they kind of got over that a long time ago. In a lot of countries anyway, and it feels like now it seems very relevant to what's going on now.
Mhm.
And the ending is interesting, but I don't want to spoil the ending because it's so different and unusual, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But I,
Yeah.
I like the way it ended. I didn't expect it. Did not see that one coming.
I'm really glad. I think we set it up pretty well that you think you have figured out the surprise ending, and then we have a surprise ending on top of that.
Yeah.
So and that's part of. I mean, the taut thriller of this, and honestly, the movie is an Ed Berger brainchild. Tessa Ross, my fellow producer, obviously found the material and saw what was wonderful in it, and got Peter Straughan to write the script. Uh, Edward Berger did something that I don't think anyone else really could have done. I feel you don't always get to make the best version of a movie that you think is possible, and
Hmm.
that we really did that. We had amazing ingredients, but then to take a movie where there's voting and talking and turn it into an edge of your seat thriller is that's genius, I think, and just wonderful in every aspect.
It's fascinating because I was looking at other movies you've produced. You've worked on a number of different films, and I went to NYU Film School and I came up. We discussed the auteur theory of directors, but I feel it applies to you as a producer. I mean, you worked on Arrival, which is about a linguist who's brought in by the U.S. Army, and another sort of communication story to try to decipher what the aliens are telling us. I just watched The Lodge last night, which I'd never seen, about the stepmom to these two kids who are grieving over the suicide of their mother because dad left her, and then going and spending time with her in this snowed in, rustic setting, and things go wrong. And I expected it to be a ghost story, and it wasn't really a supernatural story as much as about the ghosts of your mind, which I found really intriguing. And then many moons ago, I think you were associate producer on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, about people trying to erase the memory of their relationship from their existence, and then what happens after that. And it seems like a lot of these films you work on deal with communication and deal with people sequestered in environments or in their own mind trying to sort things out. Is that something that you've thought about when you make these movies, or have you found there are things you get attracted to when you're looking for projects to produce?
Yeah, I think it's that. I was a psych major, so maybe that has something to do with sort of where my mind automatically goes. it I need to connect with characters. I like some, a problem to be solved, or I think most movies are, there's an issue and you have to solve it. But I need to connect with those characters. I do like this, science fiction and thriller personally.
Yeah.
Um, that mystery, that bigger mystery than all of us, and that could apply again to the mystery of like who's going to win our election of the Pope, and you know, and the mind of Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine. But I am attracted to that. Um, I would say that my main focus in general, though, is the people that I'm going to work with more than the story that I'm going to work on.
Ooh.
Um, I think that, and so those people I think tend to be interesting, um, really creative, and then the projects they're interested in sort of organically I find exciting. Um, but it's much more about the people, because I feel like number one, we spend a lot of time with them when we make a movie.
Yeah.
It's hard work, it's long hours, it's years. Um, and to sort of borrow from the movie, you have to have faith in the people you're working with, and you have to have a lot of faith in your director. They have a vision, and I mean, on set with Edward, we're shooting the movie, and like Ed, we're scheduled to shoot 9 different votes. 9?
Yeah.
They're
It's a
walking up
lot.
and they're voting.
That's a lot
He's
of
like,
voting
I got
sequences.
it. He's like, I got it. It's gonna matter. It's gonna work. There's little differences, and and you have to have faith in that. And to do that, you've got to be working with people that you respect and that you really enjoy. And so that's what guides me now, people, and then the projects become organic to that.
Yeah, my best friend Steven, who edits my video podcast, he's a big fan of Eternal Sunshine, and Arrival is one of his favorite sci-fi films. I am
Right.
a big genre movie fan, so I appreciate when there's an intelligent genre movie. I mean, I can watch a lot of ridiculous horror movies because I just like the rush of fear. The Lodge was one of those movies that just gets under your skin.
Mhm.
And I don't know that everything is fully resolved. I think a lot of it's up for discussion, which is more European, I think, actually. I think some of the films you work on have a bit of that European flavor where it's not just totally throwing everything out to you and saying, well, this is what happened and this is how it gets solved, like, which is a very American thing. Like, even Conclave at the end, when you find out who's going to become Pope and what happens, still left with a lot of questions. It's not
Yeah.
like it all gets wrapped up with a bow, which I like. It makes you think a lot more about the subject matter.
Yeah, one would hope you would keep kind of thinking about it, or think, what would you do if you were Ray Fiennes' character, Cardinal Lawrence, in that moment? And those are great. Conclave, uh, Ed Berger, and Swiss German director, and Peter Strawn is UK based writer.
Yeah.
Arrival, Denis Villeneuve is from Montreal. Director, very again European sensibilities. Lovely human. Also,
Yeah.
um, the Lodge, our directors are also German, and so I guess, and Eternal Sunshine, our director was French, so I guess maybe
Yeah.
that has to do with it. Then again, I worked on Gangs of New York and The Aviator, Martin Scorsese,
Yeah. Yeah.
not European, but Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
And
Who still has, I think, a bit of a European influence too, though, in some of
yeah,
what he
oh, he,
does.
he has
Yeah.
every influence. He's just the most brilliant film historian. I don't even, not even historian. He knows more than any other human being on the planet, I think, about films and movie making. I mean, he'll talk about a movie, and then he'll talk about the cinematographer, and then he'll talk about the costume designer by name, and then he'll start talking about shots that were used, and wardrobe that was, and set design that was done, and third, fourth, fifth actor, characters, who are actors. I mean, amazing mind, so fun, so brilliant. That's rarefied air.
Yeah. And what's interesting too is, like, when I think about genre movies, I think that they often don't work with high-powered casts. And Conclave, it's interesting because you have high-powered actors there. You have Ray Fiennes, you've got Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, Isabella Rossellini, but it works because these cardinals are high-powered people. So like you
Mm,
actually, I feel like it doesn't matter whether the actors are subject. It almost helps it in a way because you're dealing with these big figures and egos, and it I think it helps to have people like that that you recognize. Does that make any sense in that
Oh,
sense?
100%, 100%, because they are powerful. They're playing powerful people. You know them. It's also why Carlos Dietz, who plays Benitez,
Yes.
we did a worldwide search for that character. We wanted someone that not only would the audience not know, we wanted someone that the actors didn't know. We wanted someone just completely new, and that worldwide search, Nina Gold, our casting director, conducted it, and that resulted in one person that was right for the part, and that was Carlos. He's the only one that we flew to Rome and did a audition with him, and then just one. And that's a combination of look and demeanor and voice and face and how he carries himself, just to be perfect for that part. But it's exactly the sort of antithesis of the other characters. It's a character that we want to know nothing about. And that also played for, that played into sort of all of that casting.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's one shot near the end. I think it's maybe some nuns coming down a staircase. Was that in a studio? Because I swear to God, I've seen that like in an Italian giallo somewhere. It looks like I'm not kidding. I was like, I've seen this in
Um,
like an Argento or Lucio Fulci trailer somewhere. I've seen it, and I guess it's not, but it
oh,
looks
so
like
funny.
something I've seen.
So funny. Yeah, no, that was shot in what's the area? It's the brutalist area outside of Rome, where it was same building as we shot like the auditorium scenes, the green chairs when they're all
Right.
together. Um, it's a very bizarre building. The same building was where right before that shot with the nuns coming down the stairs, you've got the cardinals going down the sort of zigzagging
Yeah.
stairway, the nuns coming down the stairs. It's all the same building, really interesting, beautiful architecture. I mean, you can find so much in Rome, but yeah, no. The only things that were shot on stage were the Sistine Chapel, which we built,
Okay.
as one does in the movies. Uh, and then next to the Sistine Chapel, we built the long corridors and the bedrooms for the where all the papal quarters where everybody lived and
Okay.
stayed there. So there's the green and gray marble hallways and rooms.
So it's possible I have seen that staircase somewhere else because it wasn't in a studio set anyway, so it could have been somewhere.
Staircase could have been real. Absolutely. You could have
Uh,
seen it.
I have a soft spot for a lot of crazy Italian thrillers and horror movies. And I
Oh,
mean, I love cult movies for that reason. They find locations like this that studios don't always get to use because they're building so many set pieces that you find. I love watching old movies like that. I'm like, where is that place? If it still
oh yeah.
exists.
That's
Now, getting
fun.
away from Italy, I wanted to go to New Jersey since it's
Crazy.
your native land. And a lot of films have been made in New Jersey, but I'm kind of curious if there are any stories, like real life stories or types of stories you don't think Hollywood has yet shown about your home state. Things that you find interesting that maybe haven't shown up on the big screen or the small screen. Because I know you've done some little TV producing too. Actually, you have done
Yeah. Yeah.
some.
No, it's an interesting question. I think that I mean I've been in Jersey for 20 years. Um and lived there for a very brief, well, for a few years when I was very young also. Um it's funny, New Jersey has a not great rap because of the because the Jersey Turnpike goes right through, the oil refineries and then
Yeah,
the air, you know, and when get 10 miles in, you have some of the most just beautiful little towns, and then you get further out and it gets very rural. I mean, it's the Garden State. You've got
yeah,
amazing, there's farmland and there's horses, and so I don't know that there's a particular story that like I'm going, oh my God, this story about New Jersey has to be told. But there is a tax credit now in New Jersey, and more things are going to be are shooting there because there's a strong tax credit. They're pushing it very hard, and I just hope it gets showcased a bit more as New Jersey, um,
yeah.
because it's beautiful. I live in a little town called Westfield. I think it's one of the oldest towns in New Jersey. I think it was 1729 it was established, and our house is new. It's only 100 years old. Like
Oh,
it's
oh. So, well, good luck. I mean, you've got the 8 Oscar nominations. There's also 2 BAFTA nominations, right, for this
we
movie.
have 12 BAFTA nominations
Oh,
all in.
really?
Yeah, which is amazing. But we have 2 Best Picture BAFTA noms, one for
That's what it
Best
is.
British Picture and one for Best Picture, and then just about every other category also nominated. So and we have 11 Critics' Choice Award nominations. That's in about 3 hours from today. So it's fun. It's a crazy ride. It's a win already completely. Like we won the nominations. that's a win. And, lightning has struck. It would be amazing if lightning strikes again, but I'm good.